friends. Today we're going to be talking about anecdotes. An anecdote is a short amount of a particular incident or event of an interesting or amusing nature and is often biographical. Writers can use anecdotes about their personal experiences to persuade their audience to accept their views. A persuasive and effective anecdote will include precise words, relevant descriptive details, and sensory language. These techniques will paint a picture for readers, and as a result, the audience can sympathize or possibly relate to the writer's experience. There are a few things a writer needs to keep in mind when using anecdotes in argumentative essays. They are: the story should be focused with a clear message. It should be relevant to the thesis statement. Remember, that is your claim, what you are saying. It can be serious or entertaining. It should be relatable in some way to the target audience. It should cause readers to have a strong reaction, either sympathy or understanding, even anger. And it can be a personal anecdote or it can be somebody else's story. So today we're going to look back at a couple of stories. One of them is A Child of War. Listen and see if you can identify some of the anecdotal things, anecdotal points that the author uses. Sometimes I feel my life resembles a drama where I am both actor and spectator experiencing the progression of life. Although I survived the war when I lived in Afghanistan, only now do I truly understand its real impact on me. When I look back on my life, I wonder how I managed to survive all the suffering my family experienced. I was 6 years old when I lived in Afghanistan. I remember that all I ever wanted to do was color my picture books while bombs passed over our home in Kabul. Even though men were fighting and killing each other and bodies were blown apart as bombs exploded, these events did not have real meaning for me. Tears still spill down my face when I think about my childhood. My heart goes out to those who are still suffering from the war, where seeing body parts covered with blood is an everyday experience. So, yes, I think that life has been kind to me. I am no longer in danger of being killed, and as I do my homework, I do not have to cope with the fears that friends in Kabul still experience. So let's look. Is this story focused with a clear message? I would say it is. Is it relevant to the thesis? Remember, we said that her claim was that even if you are experience a tragedy, that you should use your tragedy for some sort of good. Or we also said that she should use her experiences for the better. We also said that every life matters, even in war. So thinking about those theses that we came up with for this story, is the anecdotes that she told relevant to that? Or maybe we'll hear those later in the story. It can be serious or entertaining. Clearly, this is serious. It should be relatable to the target audience. So you are the target audience. This came from a book called Teen Inc. So it's stories of teenagers. And while you can't necessarily relate to the experience of war, you can relate to the experiences that you've had as children in playing and coloring and those sorts of things. It should cause readers to have a strong reaction, sympathy or understanding or even anger. I think we can definitely feel some sympathy or some empathy, definitely, for the author. And it can be a personal anecdote or someone else's story. So in this case, it is the author's personal anecdote. Alaha briefly recalls her memories when she was 6 years old, coloring her books while bombs passed over her house and bodies were being blown apart. Well, you might be able to relate to her experience, not be able to relate to her experience. It is easy as a reader to feel compassion and sympathy for young, innocent people who are caught in the middle of a war. The fact that the author actually lived through these events strengthens her position. This might lead readers to think, if she can forgive those who bombed her city and equally value their lives, then so can I. Let's look at the antidotes chart, which we just did. We did that before I read all that. So now we're going to look again at why Ali loved flag burnings. Again, keep in mind all of these different anecdotal points that we want to make sure our anecdotes meet for our argumentative essays. My friend Ali told me that when he was a young boy growing up in Jordan during the 1960s, he used to like to go to the movies. But before the film could start, he is embarrassed to say, a huge likeness of King Hussein would appear on the screen, and everyone had to stand and sing along while a military band played the Jordanian national anthem. Armed guards stood in the back of the theater to ensure participation. If you didn't sing along, they would arrest you, charge you with disrespect for the symbol of the country, King Hussein, and haul you off to jail. Then Ali remembers going home and watching the news on TV. Thanks to America's free press, there was always plenty of American news footage. Night after night, he watched Americans protesting the policies of their government in Vietnam. On many nights, he watched Americans burn the American flag. I'm going to stop there because, as you recall, this story was about the freedoms that Americans have where they are able to burn their flag, and how Ali ended up moving to America so that he could also enjoy these freedoms. Not that he wanted to burn the flag, but that he wanted to live where people live in a place where people had the right, even if we don't necessarily agree with the sentiment. So looking at this clear, focused message, definitely the anecdotes he relates are tie back to freedom and the ability to have freedom. It's definitely still serious in nature. Um, is it relatable to the target audience? That's you guys. I mean, I don't know that you can really relate to it based on your age, and the part where there's not a lot of protest in this way anymore, but you do salute the flag every day and you know that it's an important part of your culture. So, in that way, you are at least able to understand the importance of your freedoms. It should cause you to have a strong reaction. I know a lot of you had a strong reaction having to do with anger, because why would he want to burn the flag? And as we read on, we noticed that he wasn't burning the flag. It was Americans, college students, protesters during the war in Vietnam back in the 60s that were burning the flag, and they had the right to do so. And it is his personal story. So I think that this checks off all the boxes. So today, you are going to take a few minutes to consider an anecdote or two that might help you make your claim in an argumentative essay, um, and to make your claim more powerful. So something that supports what you're saying, what your thesis is. So jot down a few ideas, but your writing notebook assignment for today on AE 22 is the following. Personal anecdotes can persuade readers to accept writers' views. They give the writer credibility and allow readers to sympathize or relate to the reader's experiences. Today, during Writer's Workshop, write a personal anecdote you can use for your essay, a story that will support your point of view and engage your readers. Refer to the anecdotes chart to help you structure and craft your anecdote to be a powerful addition to your essay. So this is probably going to be a paragraph or two, but something that is helpful to you. All right, friends, let's write.